in the morning of one of the enjoyable summer days in New York City. In one of the quiet neighborhoods, a small report from one of the workers at the villa of one of the rich people, indicating that he and the rest of the workers were unable to enter the villa because, apparently, the key was on the door on the other side. All the lights in the house were on. One of the police patrols arrived within 2 minutes. The police managed to enter, and there on the ground, in front of the office door, the body of the famous millionaire Robert Roy was lying on the ground. The police began investigating immediately. Psychological crimes have priority in dedicating all efforts to resolve them early. This case seems to be mysterious and difficult to identify the perpetrator's identity. The villa was closed from inside. The windows have iron fences. Robert gave all workers permission to leave early last night. The wife lives with her young son in a private residence. Angry because of her suspicion of her husband's betrayal and his many relationships. The crime scene, and the body of the famous millionaire Robert Roy lying next to the office door, stabbed in his neck from behind, raises many questions. Was the killer with him? A guest or an intruder? A friend or relative? Or an unknown person who managed to sneak into the villa? Everything was arranged, and there were no notes. But how did the killer get out of the house when the doors were locked from inside? There are no traces of door breaking or violence. The furniture is arranged, and everything looks perfect except for the floor, which was a little dirty next to a relatively small heater compared to the size of the main reception hall area. There are no traces of fingerprints or shoe marks on the floor. There is an iron ladder attached to the back wall of the villa. It is clear that it is there to serve the TV channel's antenna. The villa's surface had one door leading to the villa, but it was also surrounded by an iron door closed from the inside, with a large lock. Old and present from the inside. There is also a small chimney vent. There are no windows or entrances to the villa otherwise. The initial information indicated that there were 5 suspects that should be focused on in the investigation. His wife, who suspected him of cheating on her. His business partner, who was planning to take over the company. His son, who wanted the inheritance so he could live a decent life with his mother. His former business manager, who was fired from his job after Robert discovered he was planning to take over his wealth. His ex-wife, who was separated from him before he achieved all that wealth, did not benefit from his wealth and harbored resentment towards Robert and hated him severely. In the investigations, each suspect confirmed that they were at their home away from Robert, but not everyone could provide any evidence of their presence in their homes at the time of committing the crime. His angry wife claimed she had a headache and went to bed early that night. His son said he was in his room, sitting in front of his computer. His former business manager said he used to read company work reports while in bed. The partner also said he lived alone in his house and was watching an important match in the English League. His ex-wife said she already hated Robert because he never thought about her situation or supported her financially despite being in dire need. But she doesn't know much about him and doesn't care about his murder. During the investigations and evidence collection, investigators discovered some interesting things. An eyewitness reported that the victim's wife returned home late on the night of the crime, not as she claimed that she had a headache and went to bed early. Investigators also noticed that the victim's son did not have a computer at home. The investigators also discovered that Mr. Roberts' business manager was painting his apartment and moved all work-related papers to his private office outside the house. The investigators also found out that on the same night as the murder, the final match of the European League champions was held, not as Mr. Roberts' partner claimed. The investigation showed also his ex-wife was on vacation from work and spent 3 days outside her home. One of these nights was the night the crime occurred. Everyone's testimony about their whereabouts during the murder incident raised suspicions about them and pointed fingers at any of them. But at the last moment, young investigator Jack discovered that something was wrong. Despite the false statements of the suspects, the young investigator was able to know who the killer was thanks to his observation skills. As for you, dear follower, did you know who killed Mr. Robert? If you are highly observant or have a keen eye, we believe that you can reach the real criminal if you can find out who he is. If you can find out who the killer is, put your comment with his name. A link to solve that crime will be placed in the first comment in the next crime. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and follow us if you are a fan of detective stories and can find out who the real criminal is from the smallest details.